Hi, my name is Michelle, and I want to give you a review on a book that I read recently. This book is called My Last Stop, and it's by Ricardo A. Pimentel. You can purchase it at Amazon.com or BarnesandNobles.com. This book, like I said, I read it recently, and I actually read it twice so far. It was quite overwhelming. It was a fantastic book that I happened to pick up by chance, and I didn't have words for it when I first finished. I had to think about it a while and soak it all in, and later on I read it again. Well, ever since then I've decided that it's going to be a book that I'm going to keep nearby, probably on my nightstand or something, because it's a book that I would have to go back to every so often. Just as a life experience or as a reminder. I would better say as a reminder. This is about a man growing up in the Dominican Republic that I was able to relate to because of the fact that it's a neighboring, what we call El Mano Island, in the Caribbean, as from where I'm from also, and we have similar background and a similar upbringing, a similar culture. So I was able to relate. Notwithstanding though, anybody will be able to relate to this book. This is not just for people that were brought up with my same background or culture. Everyone will find how to relate to My Last Stop. And I would describe it as being a blessing. It came at a time when I needed a wake-up call. I needed to remember things, who I was, where I came from, and what's really important in life. And I had gotten accustomed to being, having pity parties. Woe is me this, woe is me that, why does this happen to me, why is this happening to me tomorrow, yesterday, forever, I'm never getting out of this. It's always me, and I'm sure other people go through the same things at times. Life can sometimes get a little hectic, and we can be swung things one right after the other, and we don't know how to deal with it. And this is what happened to this person. He grew up in a very big family, conditions that he had it all actually, and in some ways you look back and after reading this book and you say they might not have had material things, but they had everything else. The love was overwhelming. The values that were taught were incredible. And it's a story that, like I said, will bring you back and say, why do I complain? What things are so little that happen to me, and when I think they're bad, they actually turn out for the best because they're the things that make you who you are. My Last Stop by Ricardo A. Pimentel showed a tremendous focus this person had, and what stood out, I would say one of the things that stood out the most of My Last Stop was the fact that he never once complained. There was no whining. There was no, why is this happening to me? He just, he wrote this book in a way that just described his upbringing and events. And he did it in a way that actually puts you there also. You breathe this book. You live it, you feel it. You feel like if you're one of the characters in the book. You actually feel like if you know the characters. I mean, in my head, I was even putting physical traits to these characters he talks about. Like if I knew them, like if I was brought up with them, you get to know them very well. And that's how real the style it was written in. The focus, like I was talking about before, was different than any other I've seen. He was focused on his goals. One of his main goals was to come to the United States, and he talked about everything he had to go through to get here, and then the things he did go through once he was here. Oh my God, amazing, amazing. God gives us certain gifts to be able to get through things, but the perseverance that this person had was incredible. And I can say it's an uplifting book, a motivating book, but that will put it in a common ground as other books, and I don't want to do that. This book is set aside by, number one, like I said, the fact that he's so focused and doesn't complain. And it's a book that everybody could take something from. You don't have to be from a Hispanic background or anything like that. There will be something in this book that will be a life lesson for you. And that will make you want to, probably like me, go back and read it again. This was nonstop. The book is called My Last Stop, but it was actually a nonstop reading. I think I got up and probably went to the kitchen twice and to get something to drink real fast, and I went right back to it. I couldn't put it down, and I knew I needed to finish it. It's one of those books. I don't know if any of you guys ever remember back in the day when I was growing up in school, we had mandated reading, and a couple of those readings, which are books that I'll never forget because I love them. One of them was Down These Mean Streets, and the other one was When I Was Puerto Rican. If you like those books, if you love those books, you're gonna absolutely love this book. I don't even know what else I can compare it to. There are people who will mention, and to this day say, "Oh, my favorite book was so and so," but it's you have to read this book. Like I said, this book is one of sheer focus, straightforward, accountability, and there were times that I felt guilty because it wasn't a bad feeling though. It was a feeling I needed to feel. Guilty in the sense that I started saying, why do I complain so much? Why do I have pity parties? There are people who went through so much more than I, and here I am whining about this or complaining about that. And that was something that I needed to hear. That's why I say it was a blessing to me. And again, you must read this book, My Last Stop by Ricardo A. Pimentel. You can find it at Amazon.com or BarnesandNobles.com. And once you read it, you're going to be reminded on certain things in life that we all need to be reminded about. Thank you. And again, My Last Stop, Ricardo A. Pimentel at Amazon.com.